While shark attacks and ice cream sales are definitely correlated, they move together, they go up and down together. Neither one is causing the other.
Okay.
They actually share a common cause.
Okay.
Hot weather. Simple as that. The heat drives more people to the beach, potential shark territory, and it also drives up demand for ice cream.
Got it. So the third factor, the heat, is the real driver.
Precisely. It's the perfect illustration. Just because two things happen together doesn't mean one caused the other. Correlation is not causation.
Absolutely. And that simple idea, it just scales up to incredibly complex problems in, well, almost every field you can think of. Medicine, economics, social science, climate.
Everywhere.
Yeah. Figuring out the real causal links, the true why, is just incredibly hard. Why is it so tough traditionally?
Well, traditionally, it demands really deep domain expertise, for one.
Okay.
It often requires specialized statistical methods or even experimental setups, and you're often dealing with messy or incomplete data, right?
Right.
Or those tricky confounding factors, hidden variables that influence both the supposed cause and the effect.
Like the hot weather example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or you just face situations where you simply can't run a clean, controlled experiment in the real world. You can't randomly assign certain things to people or situations.
Sure. That makes sense.
So that difficulty has always made causal inference a really challenging, expert-driven process, especially when you're trying to pull insights from rich but, unstructured information like text.
Okay, so that brings up the big question then. Where does a tool like an LLM, which is like famously good at processing text, fit into this whole complex picture?
Well, that's what the research explores, and it highlights some really intriguing capabilities these models are starting to show.
Such as?
For one, they're getting surprisingly good, it seems, at identifying potential causal connections directly from text itself.
Okay, how does that work?
Well, the video explains that LLMs are becoming more adept at looking at sentences, paragraphs, even, longer documents, and starting to pick out relationships that seem to imply cause and effect. Not just simple association, but actual causalities. They've seen so much text describing events and their consequences that they start recognizing the linguistic patterns that signal A causes B.
Interesting. So it's pattern recognition on a massive scale applied to cause-effect language.
Kind of, yeah. And beyond just spotting those links, the research gets into another really fascinating capability. Their ability to reason about counterfactuals.
Counterfactuals. Okay, that's the what-if question, right?
Exactly. What if this specific thing hadn't happened? Would the outcome have been different? It's like thinking about alternative realities based on changing one potential cause.
Which is something humans do all the time when we reason about why something happened.
Absolutely. It's core to how we understand causality. We don't just see what did happen, we mentally simulate what might have happened otherwise.
Yeah.
And the paper explores how LLMs can actually perform this type of counterfactual reasoning, how they can simulate these alternative outcomes based on the text they analyze.
Okay, that's pretty sophisticated. And it's not just simple A causes B stuff either.
No, not limited to that. The research looks at how LLMs can handle different levels of complexity when it comes to the causal assumptions you feed them. So everything from spotting those simple pairwise links up to trying to recover a much more complex, full causal graph. Showing how lots of different variables might be influencing each other.
A whole web of causes and effects.
Pretty much. And what's interesting is how they deal with ambiguity, because text is full of it.
Oh, definitely. Language is rarely perfectly precise.
Exactly. So the research points out that text often leaves room for interpretation. And it shows that giving the LLM more context significantly improves its performance. Helps it, more accurately identify these causal links and structures when the language is a bit vague.
Right. More context helps disambiguate. Okay, so they can potentially identify links, reason about what-ifs, handle complex structures from text. How are people actually using these capabilities? Like, what are the practical applications being explored?
Yeah, good question. A really significant application discussed is using LLMs to assist human experts in the causal inference process. It's more collaborative. Well, for example, you could prompt an LLM to generate an initial causal graph, maybe based on information it extracts from a pile of research papers or domain literature.
Okay, like a first draft of the causal map.
Exactly. Or it could even be used to critique or suggest modifications to a graph that an expert has already put together.
Interesting. Like a knowledgeable brainstorming partner.
Sort of, yeah. It's not replacing the expert's thinking, but it's giving them maybe a powerful starting point or a different perspective that's drawn from analyzing vast amounts of text data.
Right.
Okay. Obviously, it likes talking a lot, and that's great. We also like to chat. There's a couple weird things about this thing. I mean, that's pretty good. I don't know if we need, it's always reverting using Google stuff, obviously. Bum, bum, bum. So obviously, I mean, we can finish it in with GitHub Copilot, can we? Let's actually try it out, because I think Google will be still biased towards using some of these tools. So we have it now on running locally on a server. By the way, there is a human in the loop, so if you have any questions, go for it. Just a simple GPT-4o. Do we actually have to use Tailwind CSS, or can we have a custom CSS for the page? I'm actually more inclined to just removing Tailwind and removing any current styling and then redoing it from scratch. Well, because we also have... it wouldn't let me finish. The bot is very
You don't
keen
have
on
to use
responding.
Tailwind CSS. You can absolutely remove it and create custom CSS for the page. Tailwind is a utility-first framework that simplifies...
Okay, yeah. Okay, so can we remove Tailwind and potentially redo the whole styling from scratch, like within the page, without any external resources? I mean, we could also remove the Google APIs, the fonts, just keep the chat.js. Does that make sense? Let's see what happens.
Made changes.
Made changes. Okay, it seemed to have worked. We're doing vibe coding, so none of that. You got okay, you got rid of too many things, didn't you?